All right, so don't answer live, type it in the chat box. Are you watching this recording today for you, or are you here maybe for somebody else? We would love to hear from you and others. Yes. Ooh, 26 weeks pregnant. Congratulations. That's due end of October, a grandbaby. All right, so I'm going to kick us off today and let you know that this is not information that I have firsthand knowledge in. My youngest biological child is 14, and I've been doing Young Living for 10 years. So even with math, obviously I'm not of that age anymore, but I am happy to be here to help be a part of co-hosting tonight, because one of the most amazing things about Young Living is that we get to take this information and empower our families with this, right? So I am a proud grandma of soon to be 12 grandbabies, and 11 of them, 10 of them born while I was oily. And so I've been able to help my daughters and my grandbabies and their partners and spouses, et cetera, along the way through this journey. But I am excited to kick us off today with just a little bit of information. And my next grandbaby is due June 4th. So I'm excited by that. Kick this off today and talk about why we choose to help our bodies during this time. And just there's a wealth of things that we're going to talk about today that we're going to be helping with Young Living, with our supplements, with our oils, whether it's discomfort or that birthing process or emotions. We're going to probably cover the gamut of all of it. But before we start, I want to take just a second and tell you that it's super important that when we're talking about the essential oils we're using today for labor, pregnancy, delivery, and I'm super excited that we're going to be hosting and sharing some testimonials, that we're talking specifically about Young Living and the Young Living quality and guarantee that when we're going to put these oils in sensitive areas or our most precious children, that the oils that we're going to be using are pure, and that we have the process, the testing, the information, that there is nothing being added to our oils that will harm ourselves or our babies. And I just think, especially, there's two times I talk about this very, very specifically. And one is the Lucy Libido class, which maybe got some of you into this state. No judgment here, but those private areas that are the most sensitive and the most exposed for getting those chemicals, if they were using something different onto your body. I want you to be so cautious and so careful that when you're watching this video, you don't go, oh, I could probably just use lavender that I got from, an online, a big box store. Because the reality is that lavender that isn't Young Living's can have all kinds of things added to it that could burn your most private of areas. And so I just want to kick us off today with a caution that as we go about today's call, if you have questions about our Young Living quality, I'd encourage you to check out the seed2seal.com website. Somebody maybe can type that even in the chat box, because we care about the oils you're putting on you and your babies and your spouses, etc., your entire family. And we have products to help you along the way. And I would hate for somebody to come back and say, well, I tried that XYZ and it did, I've had friends who've even had burns from things. I'm like, oh, as we're talking about the birthing areas today, I just wanted to start us with that topic up front, that we want to be safe, we want to be careful, and we want to, as we walk through, there are times where you'll probably maybe want to dilute some of these oils. And if you're brand new to essential oil usage, when you dilute an oil, you don't make it less effective. You just slow down the absorption rate. And again, in some of our private or most sensitive of areas, that can be a very good thing. So I love Young Living's V6 oil. It's a very lightweight oil. If you're going to be diluting something, you can also use extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil or jojoba oil. You want to get the most, the best quality carrier oil you can when you're talking about your most sensitive of areas. And you definitely, I remember bringing home babies. So something kind of interesting about me is I have 22 children, age range from 10 to 32, mostly adopted, because that would be a lot of kids to give birth to. And one of the things I think about that is when you bring a baby home from the hospital, we brought newborns home from the hospital often. And the first thing they did is we would take chemicals. We used what we thought at the time was a really good laundry soap for our babies, right? And we worked to get those chemicals away from the babies. Well, how much more so? And and wouldn't it be horrible to fall into that trap of thinking that what you're using was safe and you didn't know? And so that's how come I start this call this way, because I care about you and I care about your birthing experiences and I care about your babies too. Obviously, that's why I have so many. All right. So with that being said, I am super excited that we're going to kick today's discussion off with a conversation with Kelsey. Now, Kelsey, you have a brand new baby, and we are so excited that you're going to be sharing today your testimonial. We've heard you had an amazing birth. We heard that Young Living was a great part of your experience, and you're fairly new to oiling. I'm going to go ahead and pass this torch over to you, and I can't wait to have you share. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. There you are, beautiful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Kelsey. I had the most amazing birth experience. Like, I'm still riding high from it. So I casually went into my 37-week appointment, unsuspecting. I had been measuring small for the past month or so, and there was no plan of doing an induction. My plan was to have the most natural birth possible at the hospital. And the doctor tells me, "You're having your baby today." And I go, "Come again?" Like, I was really planning on having my hospital bag packed this time. This will be my third kid. I never had a hospital bag packed. So I was like, looking forward to having my birth done a particular way. So I said, "Can we reschedule for tomorrow morning?" And she's like, So I said, "Okay, can I come back this afternoon?" And she said, "No, we have to induce you now. Go to the 9th floor." So this was the afternoon, and I had my husband give me a timeline of everything. So I really appreciate my doctor because, again, she respected that I wanted as natural as a birth as possible. And so she gave me something called a Folly balloon, which I just learned today. That's what it's called. And that was to kick off my contractions naturally. It manually touches your cervix, and they inflate some balloons inside of you to touch your cervix. So I was already 2 centimeters because you can be dilated for at least a month or so, especially this being my third kid. So she did that at about between 2 and 3 p.m. I was 2 centimeters. Not much happening at that point. I'm making phone calls to have arrangements made for my kids. I am asking my husband to bring my laptop. I gotta pay some bills. I gotta send emails. I have things to do. So that's what I'm doing. And then I reach out to Allie. I didn't even have a chance to get Gentle Babies, which is the Young Living book. So she screenshot me everything. I sent to my husband what oils to bring me, and Allie hooked me up with the oils that I didn't have. And I happen to have most of them because I think in February, the free oils that you get with your purchase, like a good amount of those were oils that I actually ended up needing. So that was really cool. So my husband gets back, I start my oils, and at 6 p.m., I really started having my contractions. And then I was 5 centimeters at the time. And then within an hour and a half, I had my baby at 7:23 p.m. And I had a total push time of about 15 minutes. Mind you, there were tornadoes going on in Texas at the time. And I only had a nurse in my room because they had sent most people to the basement or whatever for safety reasons. My nurse ended up having to call code blue because she was the only one in there and the baby was coming out quick. And no one was expecting my labor to progress so quickly, which it did, which is after I applied my oils at 6. So I just want to quickly tell you what oils I used. So frankincense, which I rubbed around the vaginal opening. I did peace and calming, 1 drop to the wrist. I did energy behind my neck and ears, alang on the bottom of my feet, clary sage inside of my ankles, valor applied last to my wrist and bottoms of feet. And jasmine is a smell that I love so much. So I put that in my hands and was inhaling to breathe. And the night before, I just so happened to watch a Lamaze video on breathing. And I happened to like just randomly tell my husband like what to say and what to remind me. So between the oils and just the breathing, like I was able to get through this experience when in the past with my other 2 kids, my goal was to just have as painless as a birth as possible. But this was just such an empowering, amazing experience because I actually went through the process um, the way like nature intended. So also what I did, um, I rubbed geranium, lavender, and jasmine on my tummy after I gave birth. It made it super crampy, but I had the least amount of bleeding after birth that I've ever had. So I really feel that helped. And I drank probably half a bottle of Ninja, and I was up moving around afterwards. Usually I'm like bedridden for a couple days after epidural, but I was moving around and doing things. And then I definitely have to mention fennel because I was induced. My milk had not come in yet like it had in my subsequent pregnancies or deliveries. And I was super nervous because I just had this great birth, and then like I would have to get my baby formula. So I did 2 drops of fennel under my tongue every couple of hours, and I ended up getting engorged within that time span of like a few hours to where I had to rent a hospital pump. And I was not aware of any of this, like that this would happen until I read my Gentle Babies book when I got home. And I saw that other ladies said within an hour and a half, they delivered. So it was just super cool to have such an experience that this early on in my oil journey. And if anyone like has questions, I'm super happy to share any information. And it was such an amazing experience. And again, just the healing bouncing back time was so much faster. The healing time was so much faster than my other 2 kids. So yeah, I really hope that inspires like someone to go natural and just to have your oils and to breathe like you're made for this. So thank you.
That was the best sentence. You are made for this. And these are great tools. I'm so glad your birthing experience was so helpful and amazing. Hang on 1 second. We're going to get you added on here. We wanted to share. So there's some questions, and I'm hoping you type in the chat box with some of those oils. And as you're going through Lori, I just made you a pin there so you can smile and wave. So where I see it on my chat box, and people are asking, where is the transcript? So in mine, I have like the 3 little dots, and I can click and it shows view full transcript. And we're going to make sure that you get that saved. But I think if you have questions for Kelsey and her amazing birth experience, and the one thing that I think when I come to yours is what courage to do this when you're brand new to oiling. Like Lori and we're going to talk next with some great things that are helpful tools that we know from our years of birthing experiences as well as oiling. But way to go taking that empowerment so early in your oily experience. I just think that that's also really inspiring that you can just dive in like that. And the books, I did put the link to the Growing Healthy Homes, the Gentle Babies book. I consider that to be just a crucial tool in our system. And Lori, you also have a large family. We've got, there's her book girl handy. That's awesome. My grandbaby my daughter has mine right now. Is you have years of birthing experience and some wonderful things. Before we start, we'll take some questions in the chat box. But I also want to throw out, we've got some mamas here who are a little bit earlier. They're not quite yet to that delivery stage. So just, can you kick us off with some oils or ideas you'd have when we're talking about mamas and that pregnancy stage? What do they do for physical comfort? And just the aches of carrying extra baby. You got some good ideas for our mamas before they go into labor, and then we'll move into labor ideas next. Okay.
Absolutely. So that's to me, right?
Yes, that's to you.
All right, wonderful. Yes, I will, but I want to back up just a minute. By the way, Kelsey, thank you so much. I'm kind of a birth junkie, and I'm a like, if anybody really wants to get to my soul, just sit me down and tell me your birth story, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. Any birth story. I'm just a total junkie. So thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. And we all learn from each other, don't we? That's how it is. I want to double down on something she said. The body is designed for this. And the most important thing is to trust. So I come to you like Amanda. I wasn't oily when I was having my babies. I wish I could go back and have oily pregnancies and oily births, and it would have been amazing. Having said that, I did have 6 children, all from this body, home birth, including a set of twins, 35-week-old twins, in my home, all natural. And so I believe in birth. And I'm not here judging anybody who didn't have that experience, but I look at birth the way I look at everything else. And I think it's really important to have this mindset. And the mindset is your body was designed for this. And the best thing that you are not sick. Okay. You're not ill. There's nothing wrong with you when you're pregnant. In fact, if anything, you're more alive. And anybody who's had a baby in their tummy can tell you that's how it is. And so what do we do when we're in any state of life? We support the body. We support our emotions. We support our physical needs. And we can do that with oils. And so after I came to oils, then I started looking around and asking people who were pregnant and who did have oily babies, how did you do this? Tell me everything. And so what I bring to you today is a smattering of all of the things that I have learned from everybody else, along with my own inherent belief that your body was made for this. So we support the body before you have babies. Emotionally, friends, first trimester is often fraught with a whole bunch of ambivalence because sometimes you weren't trying. Sometimes you're thinking, wait a minute, what just happened here? I don't think we can afford this. How am I going to tell my husband? I already have so many children. How am I going to take care of them? And yet you're so happy for the baby, but you're like, That's ambivalence. And so what oils can we use for that? Just think to yourself, how do I support my body with ambivalence? How about peace and calming? How about stress away? How about anything that makes you feel empowered? Maybe some valor you could use for that. I just had a thought and there it went. It was something about, people get all hung up on what are the oils that I have to stay away from while I'm pregnant or I'm going to kill the baby. Guys, here is my rule for everything with pregnancy. If it's good for mama, it's good for baby. If it's not good for mama, it's not good for baby. I reject the emotion that, I reject the thought that there are oils that are good for mama, but bad for baby. And that's just my way of looking at it. You can do your own research, but what I'll tell you is to be aware of English method aromatherapists that are alarmist in their views. And they'll go ahead and tell you to take Tylenol all day in spite of what it does to your liver. But they don't want you to put one drop of name the oil on your body because it might throw you into labor. So just be aware and use wisdom and use your gut. If you're not okay with it, just don't do with it. Do it. Move on. There are other oils that you can use, but that's my rule. If it's good for mom, it's good for baby. So we support the body emotionally especially in the first trimester. Also in the first trimester, you start feeling icky and yucky. I've heard digest is amazing for people who are feeling icky and yucky. For other people, it's tummy jize because the smell of digest sends them over the top. For other people, it's supporting their body with vitamin B because B vitamins are really important. Aroma ease, yes. Aroma ease in the beginning. Ginger oil, yes. Thank you for sharing all of those. Tangerine, whatever it is that your body needs, because every body is different, you'll know it when you get it, and you'll be huffing on it all the time. Also, in the first trimester, you can start sometimes not sleeping so well. And so you know what oils to do to help you rest and relax so that you can have a nice sleep. You know about that. Also, Ningxia Red is known in midwife circles. So I travel in midwife circles. Like I told you, I'm a birth junkie. I've even caught babies before, and that's had nothing to do with me slitting the tires of the midwife so that she couldn't get there in time. Just saying. Maybe I did.
Laugh at you. Just in case you thought you went too far, I did laugh at that. Okay. Yes.
Here's how you catch a baby. You guys ready? Pinkies at the perineum. Boom. Just like that. And here's the other thing. Babies are coming whether there's somebody there to catch it or not. It's okay. But I digress. So I run in midwife circles. In midwife circles, Ningxia Red is known as the placenta builder. And you want a great big meaty placenta. That means the baby has had enough protein and enough good things. I even, when I had the twins, I wish I'd had Ningxia Red. Man, I was supposed to eat 128 grams of protein a day. Let me tell you how tricky that was to get in, because you don't feel like eating because everything is too tight in there because it's twins. But Ningxia Red, and it's also highly absorbable. When things are liquid, they're easily digestible. So if I had to throw everything out and only use one product, it'd be Ningxia Red. Other things for multigreens. Guys, just do it. Multigreens. Alkaline and cardamom can be super soothing for moms. Now, second trimester is usually just a really happy place. Happy second trimester, they call it. You're pregnant, you're pretty, your lips aren't swelling this big, your nose isn't this big yet. Everything seems happy. You have gotten over the ambivalence, you're just joy all the time, right? So keep supporting it with the Ningxia Red during second trimester. Third trimester is when things can get less comfortable. So Braxton Hicks, take baths in the evening and put a little bit of Epsom salt in there with a drop of peace and calming. I've heard that's amazing for the Braxton Hicks. Raindrop therapy for your poor back. Again, if you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it. What's good for mama is good for baby, in my way of thinking. And Omega Jize to support, and Life 9. Right? So it's all about supporting you emotionally. And then I want you to spend some time thinking about what you want your birth to look like. Actually visualize yourself in it and use the oil that you're going to have going in the diffuser when you either go to the hospital or you have the home birth. And I recommend Valor because it makes you strong. Women, this is the moment when you will find out how truly strong you are and how God made you to do this. And so breathe in your Valor and imagine what you want this birth to look like. So to the point where you believe it, where you will see it no other way, because the mind is very powerful and it informs the body how to behave. So support the body and emotional support, physical and emotional. Let's see. Mindset. We've talked a little bit about mindset. I want to make you aware of something I hear a lot. I hear people say things like, let me. My doctor won't let me do this or that. My midwife won't let me do this or that. Or they let me walk. They let me get up. They let me squat when I was having the baby. They let me eat something. Get the let me out of your mind. You are the woman who is birthing. You are not sick. If you were left alone on the field, the baby would come. And so you get to decide. They don't, if they won't let you have a diffuser, figure it out. This birth needs to happen the way you want it to happen, because that is the healthiest for your baby. It's not just healthiest for you, it's healthiest for your baby. Because yes, empower yourself. Thank you, Amanda. Because what's good for mama is good for baby. So have music going. Have something that you feel puts you in the spirit of the thing. Have the Valor going. And I've heard Clary Sage can be amazing if things get tied up and they're not wanting to come. I had that with one of my births where he started, and then like 3 hours into it, suddenly stopped. I was like, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. So I can tell you some things off oils that can super help with that. But you might feel like you're in a Lucy Libido class. Just saying. It will, because a hormone is a hormone is a hormone, and it will get things going again if you are willing to do. And you don't necessarily, okay, I'm just going to say it, you don't necessarily need things to go together. You can do everything you need to do on the outside, and it will get your labor going again. And there, I said it. But somebody asked me to talk about birth, and that's how I go. Okay, after birth, you definitely want to have helichrysum in your arsenal, because helichrysum does amazing things with the body regarding blood. It supports the body a lot, a lot. Just put the helichrysum on. And you want to have the Clariderm spray. Beware of toxic things that some people want you to put on very tender parts, because they get absorbed, just like Amanda was saying. And my oily people tell me that Clariderm is the bomb for post-delivery all over the perineal area where things are tender, because bowling balls just stretched them all out. One more thing, two more things. Swelling, citrus oils support that a lot topically and internally, and longevity for circulation. So those are my thoughts. I rejoice with you at the pending birth of a new little person to love.
I love that so much. And I want to just, think of everybody here who's watching this video, or even the replay, who's going to be having a precious bundle join us. Don't be afraid to dive into that book, and just be open to the author of it's Deborah Rayburn. She's been in Young Living. That's the beautiful expanded edition. It has so many tools for both, not just like you trying to get pregnant or during your pregnancy and post delivery, but also for the years for your baby to come. There's recipes and really great safety ideas. Look at these beautiful question. All right, I have a question and I don't know the answer to it. Can you use the Clariderm like a peri to use pre-labor to help prepare down there? I think absolutely, but does anybody have any personal experience? Type that in the chat box. I would absolutely say you could use it pre-labor. There, I shared the ingredients there. I'm very comfortable with it. And then I just want to encourage you. There are so many things you can do with your babies once they're born, and to take care of them. And I know that Lori and I speak on behalf of lots of oilers who just wish we'd had oil sooner. So don't be afraid to mention these tools to your loved ones. I know we went just a minute more than probably the 30 minutes we were supposed to do for today's call, but this replay will be up. And I encourage you just to give it to those people who need encouragement on what tools they could have for healthy births. To me, this process is so beautiful and ordained, and just a true blessing. So surrender to the process, be empowered with your bodies. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. be open to sharing this with people who truly need help, because our ideas of birthing could really be, we could just change the world by making this process so, you know, easier. Help, maybe not best word for labor. You have a better word, Lori? Give us a goodbye.
Yeah, I think we'll make the process a kinder process and make it all that it's supposed to be. It can show you power that you didn't even know existed inside of you. It's a rite of passage, and it's beautiful. So
That was beautiful. Thank you all for watching. Have a great, great day. Bye.